All right, I need everybody to get their pencil and their paper and your pens out, because I'm only going to do this one time and one time only. And you know they're going to clip farm me, because they always clip farming me, and clip farming me. And then it's going to make it look like I said something that I didn't say. So make sure y'all get y'all pen and y'all paper out, because I'm only going to have this class one time and one time only. Okay, maybe I might do it a couple more times, but this going to be the class you need. Yes, add all them women, add them all, and tell them I said get in here with they sensitive asses. Tell them all to get in here. Okay?
What they doing clip farming?
They clip farming me, babe. You don't know what that means, but I'm going to tell you what it means one day. They clip farming me. Then what they do is they take a little piece what I said or what the person said and be like, oh, she told her off or this or that. Get your pen down. Get your paper down.
Nobody warned Angela that this lie detector moment was about to turn into a full-blown cultural meltdown. Nobody told her this wasn't just a test, it was a spark thrown into a room soaked in gasoline. And Karlissa, she didn't walk into this situation. She detonated inside it. Because the second that lie detector clip surfaced, the internet didn't just start whispering, it screamed. Screenshots flew. Group chats ignited. And somewhere between disbelief and chaos, Karlissa decided today was the day she stopped being polite and started being historic. This wasn't a disagreement. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a verbal crime scene with no caution tape. Angela caught the heat first, but she wasn't alone. Chrissy and nevaeh didn't even clock in for work that day, yet somehow ended up dragged into the mess like background characters in a disaster movie. The energy shifted fast. One moment it felt like messy reality TV. The next, it felt like a leaked conversation we were never supposed to hear. The kind that makes you lean closer to your screen and whisper, "Oh, this is bad." And if you think this is just another online argument, think again. This situation spiraled so hard it made the Kardashians look boring, scripted, and underproduced. Buckle up, because once Karlissa lost it, there was no rewind button. The lie detector wasn't supposed to matter this much. That's how these things always start. A quick moment, a little entertainment, something people laugh at and scroll past. But this one didn't just stir the pot, it cracked the stove, shattered the kitchen, and burned the whole house down with receipts still inside. Because the second those questions were asked, the room shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly, the kind of quiet that feels dangerous. The kind that makes people blink too much and adjust their posture like they already know this is about to go left. And that's when the internet smelled blood. Clips started circulating before the test even finished. People weren't watching for answers anymore. They were watching faces, eye movement, pauses, that half-second delay before a response that screams louder than any lie detector beep ever could. Suddenly, everyone was a body language expert with a doctorate from TikTok University. Then Karlissa entered the timeline like a storm that had been tracking this moment for weeks. She didn't ask questions. She didn't clarify. She didn't allegedly anything. She spoke like someone who'd been waiting for the green light. And the lie detector was it. Not proof. Not truth. Permission. Angela became the immediate target, and not because she was the loudest or messiest in the moment. It was because Karlissa framed her as the puppet master hiding behind calm tones and selective silence. The kind of person who lets chaos play out while pretending they're above it. Karlissa wasn't buying that act. She came with smoke wrapped in sarcasm, delivered with the confidence of someone who believes the audience is already on her side. And the wild part, for a second, it felt like she might be right. Because the comments weren't split. They were leaning hard. This wasn't just about the test anymore. Karlissa made that clear immediately. She rewound the story like a courtroom lawyer pacing in front of a jury. She dragged the old moments back into the spotlight. Side comments people ignored before. Weird timing. Convenient silence. Things that didn't make sense back then suddenly snapping into focus. And Angela. She was positioned as the missing link. Not the villain. Not the hero. The instigator who never gets her hands dirty but somehow always walks away untouched. That's the narrative Karlissa pushed, and she pushed it like she had nothing left to lose. But then came the twist nobody expected, because instead of keeping the fire contained, Karlissa widened and the blast radius. She didn't stop at Angela. She turned her attention to the names everyone pretends not to mention directly. Christian caught the first stray, not a direct hit. A drive-by line. The kind that sounds casual until you replay it and realize it was calculated. A comment that recontextualized past behavior in a way that felt intentional, not emotional. It wasn't loud, it was sharp or surgical. The internet clocked it immediately. Then nevaeh, and that's where the temperature spiked. Because nevaeh wasn't even part of the lie detector moment in real time. But Karlissa framed her as part of the larger pattern. Not accused, implied. Not blamed, positioned. It was subtle enough to dodge accountability, but bold enough to ignite debate. That's when people stopped watching for entertainment and started watching like it was a trial. Screenshots of old interviews resurfaced. Clips from months ago suddenly looked suspicious. Quotes people laughed at before were now being dissected like coded messages. The internet loves a pattern, and Karlissa handed them one wrapped in chaos. Angela's response didn't help. Instead of matching energy, she stayed measured, calm, almost to calm. And in internet culture, calm doesn't read as innocent. It reads as guilty with a PR team. People started saying things like, "Why isn't she denying it harder?" And that pause was loud. Karlissa leaned into that perception. She framed Angela's restraint as strategy, as someone used to letting others self-destruct while she watches from the sidelines. And whether that was fair or not stopped mattering the second the narrative caught momentum. This is how online scandals evolve. Not through facts, through vibes, and the vibe was ugly. Karlissa spoke like someone who felt underestimated for too long. Like someone who believed this lie detector moment exposed something deeper than a yes or no answer. She wasn't reacting, she was unloading. Years of frustration compressed into one perfectly timed eruption. And the audience felt it. People weren't just choosing sides. They were rewriting history in real time. Suddenly, everything made sense. Or at least felt like it did. And once that feeling takes hold, logic doesn't stand a chance. Angela's name trended alongside words like calculated and playing chess. Christian's name got pulled into conversations she didn't comment on. nevaeh's involvement became a debate she never volunteered for. And Karlissa, she became the narrator of a story that hadn't finished writing itself yet. That's what made this moment dangerous. Not the lie detector. Not the accusations. The timing. Because the internet loves someone who sounds like they're finally telling the truth, especially when it's messy, emotional, and slightly unhinged. Karlissa didn't sound rehearsed. She sounded fed up. And fed up is contagious. By the time the first wave of reaction videos dropped, the damage was already done. This wasn't something that could be clarified with a statement. The conversation had outgrown the people involved. It belonged to the audience now. And as the memes started warming up and the reactions rolled in, one thing became painfully clear. This wasn't the explosion. By the time the first reaction videos hit the algorithm, the situation had already mutated. This wasn't commentary anymore. It was a spectacle. The internet did what it does best. It picked a side, made merch out of the moment, and turned real people into trending topics with expiration dates. Memes came first. They always do. Freeze frames of Angela mid-blink. Zoom-ins on Karlissa's facial expressions like they were Renaissance paintings titled "I Tried to Warn You." Side-by-sides comparing the lead detector setup to daytime court shows, survival documentaries, and reality TV breakups that felt tame by comparison. People started saying things like, "This makes love and hip-hop look like a PBS special." And somehow, that didn't feel exaggerated. Karlissa's words began traveling without her voice attached. Quotes stripped of context, floating through timelines like prophecy scrolls. The more they circulated, the sharper they sounded. The sarcasm hit harder. The accusations felt heavier. And every repost made it harder to tell where commentary ended and mythology began. Angela tried to regain control subtly. No meltdown. No dramatic clapback. Just carefully chosen responses and selective silence. But silence online doesn't translate to grace. It translates to guilt, to calculation, to someone lawyering up in real time. And the comments smelled it. People started framing Angela as the calm center of a storm she secretly summoned. The phrase master manipulator got thrown around like it was a personality trait instead of an accusation. Every old clip of her speaking softly now felt suspicious. Every neutral expression looked rehearsed. Karlissa, meanwhile, leaned fully into the chaos. She didn't backtrack. She didn't clarify. She doubled down, not by repeating herself, but by expanding the picture. She referenced vibes, energy, patterns, the kind of language that doesn't need proof because it feels emotionally true to the audience already invested. And that's when celebrity reactions quietly poured gasoline on the fire. Not statements, not interviews, likes, emojis, cryptic captions posted at just the right moment. Someone tweeting "protect your peace" right after Karlissa trended. Someone else posting a broken heart emoji without naming names. Suddenly, people were connecting dots that may not have even existed. The internet loves a silent cosign. Reaction channels popped up overnight like pop-up shops. Everyone had a theory. Everyone claimed insider knowledge. Someone's cousin's friend in what really happened. Someone else called this months ago. It became a competition to sound the most informed, the most outraged, the most entertained. And in the middle of all that noise, Christian's name kept resurfacing, not because she said anything, but because her silence spoke volumes to people already primed to read into everything. Clips from the past resurfaced with ominous captions. Moments once dismissed as chaotic were now framed as foreshadowing. People weren't asking if Karlissa was right anymore. They were asking how long this had been brewing. nevaeh didn't escape either. Her name started appearing in comment sections she never participated in. Threads dissected her involvement like a subplot that suddenly became essential to the main storyline. People debated her role with the confidence of armchair prosecutors who'd never met her. The wildest part, none of this required confirmation. The outrage fed itself. Karlissa's tone became the blueprint, sarcastic, sharp, slightly unhinged in a way that reads authentic instead of reckless. She sounded like someone who'd finally stopped caring how she was perceived, and that made people believe her more. Angela's restraint became her curse. Every attempt to appear above the drama only pulled her deeper into it. People said things like she's to comment, that's PR training. Even when she did speak, it felt like the internet had already decided how to interpret her words before she finished a sentence. And then the analogies got wild. People compared the situation to chess matches, heist movies, even cult documentaries. Someone said Karlissa was blowing the whistle in a reality TV dystopia. Someone else said this scandal had more layers than an HBO docuseries and twice the emotional damage. The lie detector itself became a joke. Memes labeled it the most honest person in the room. Others said it deserved its own apology tour. The original purpose of the test disappeared completely, swallowed by the fallout it triggered. At this point, the narrative had split into camps. One side saw Karlissa as the truth teller, finally exposing a fake-friendly ecosystem built on selective honesty. The other side saw her as reckless, dragging innocent people into a moment fueled by emotion and attention. And both sides were loud. Live streams arguing about it ran longer than feature films. Comment sections turned into war zones. People weren't just debating what happened, they were debating what it meant. Was this accountability or exploitation? Was Angela calculating or unfairly targeted? Was Karlissa brave or spiraling? And where did Christian and nevaeh fit into a story they didn't narrate? Every answer created 3 new questions. Brands stayed quiet. Associates unfollowed strategically. Mutuals disappeared overnight. The ripple effect spread outward in subtle but telling ways. When people close to a situation start moving funny, the audience notices. Karlissa thrived in the moment. She didn't look overwhelmed. She looked energized. Like someone who'd finally been handed the microphone after years of being talked over. Her sarcasm sharpened. Her timing improved. Every post landed like it knew exactly where to hit. Angela, on the other hand, looked trapped by optics. Any move she made felt wrong. Speak too much and it's defensive. Say too little and it's suspicious. Apologize and it's guilt. Deny and it's gaslighting. The internet had built a maze with no exit, and just when it seemed like the chaos had peaked, it became obvious this wasn't the climax. This was the build-up. Because scandals don't burn out when everyone's watching, the fallout didn't arrive all at once. It crept in. Quiet at first. The kind of silence that only shows up after the noise has done its damage. When the memes slow down and the reaction videos stop shouting, that's when reality starts collecting its debts. And everyone involved felt it. Karlissa woke up famous in a different way. Not trending famous. Not viral for-a-day famous. This was reputation-shifting attention. The kind that follows you into every comment section, every interview, every future moment, whether you invite it or not. Supporters framed her as fearless. Someone who finally said what everyone else was too scared to touch. They praised her honesty, her refusal to sugarcoat, her willingness to burn bridges instead of pretending they were never cracked. Critics weren't as kind. They called her reckless, accused her of weaponizing emotion, said she dragged names into a firestorm without thinking about long-term consequences. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Both sides sounded convincing depending on which clip you watched last. That's the cost of controlling the narrative only for a moment, because once the internet grabs it, you don't get it back. Angela's world shifted in subtler ways, and that might have hurt more. She wasn't canceled. She wasn't exiled. She was scrutinized. Every word weighed. Every move analyzed like it was part of some long game she never agreed to play. People started rewatching her old content with new eyes. Conversations that once felt harmless suddenly carried suspicion. Jokes sounded coded. Calmness looked calculated. Even neutral moments got reinterpreted as strategy. And when someone becomes a symbol instead of a person, there's no clean way out. Angela didn't lose her platform. She lost control of how she was perceived. And in internet culture, perception is currency. Once it devalues, everything costs more. Christian felt the ripple without ever stepping into the water. Her silence, intentional or not, became its own storyline. Fans debated whether she was protecting her peace or avoiding accountability. Critics claimed avoidance. Supporters claimed growth. And because she didn't confirm either, both narratives ran unchecked. Old clips haunted new conversations. Past chaos was framed as precedent instead of context. The internet didn't ask who she is now, it decided who she has always been. That's the danger of being adjacent to a scandal. You don't need to speak to be judged. Sometimes not speaking is the loudest thing you can do. Nevaeh faced a different kind of aftermath. Not outrage, curiosity. The most exhausting kind. People asking questions she never offered answers to. Threads speculating about her role like it was a puzzle meant to be solved. She became a topic without volunteering to be a voice. And that sticks, because when your name enters discourse without your consent, reclaiming it takes twice the effort and half the control. Behind the scenes, things shifted to relationships cooled. Mutuals moved funny. People stopped engaging publicly but watched privately. That's when you know something left a mark. When support goes quiet but surveillance stays loud. Opportunities hesitated. Collaborations paused. Conversations happened off camera that the audience will never hear but absolutely feel the effects of later. And Karlissa. She stood in the wreckage unapologetic, not celebrating, but not retreating either. She spoke like someone aware that once you cross a certain line, there's no benefit to pretending you didn't mean to. She owned the chaos. Not gently, not gracefully, but fully. That confidence kept her momentum alive. But momentum cuts both ways, because now everything she says will be compared to this moment. Every future outburst measured against the standard she set here. The internet loves to crown truth-tellers, then punish them for being consistent. Angela's next moves became critical to polished and people cry PR, to emotional and people cry fake. The margin for error shrank to nothing. She became trapped between perception and intention. And the internet doesn't care which one you meant. And that's the real consequence no one warns you about. Scandals don't just change how people see you. They change how they listen. Every word now comes preloaded with bias. The lie detector test that started all of this faded into irrelevance. Nobody cared about the results anymore. It became a footnote, a spark. The match tossed aside after the fire caught. What remained was the damage, reputational, emotional, relational, and the lesson. The internet doesn't need proof. It needs a story that feels true enough to argue about. Karlissa gave it one. Angela got caught inside it. Christian and nevaeh got pulled into its orbit. And none of them will ever be discussed the same way again. That's the thing about moments like this. They don't end. They evolve. Today, it's reaction videos. Tomorrow, it's interviews. Next month, it's Remember When. A year from now, it's This Reminds Me Of. Scandals age like wine and rot at the same time. And the scariest part, this didn't feel like closure. It felt like setup. Because in a culture addicted to chaos, truth doesn't land once, it echoes. And the internet never forgets who made it feel something first. So the question isn't who was right. The question is who's ready for what comes next. Because if this situation proved anything, it's that the calm never comes before the storm. And this is the part where things get uncomfortable. Because if you're still watching, it's not by accident. You didn't end up here for peace. You didn't stay for closure. You stayed because chaos tells the truth faster than press releases ever will. So let's talk. Drop your take in the comments right now. Not the safe one. Not the polite one. The real one. Who crossed the line? Who played it smart? And who walked straight into a storm pretending it was just rain? Say it with your chest, because silence is how narratives get written for you. And while you're at it, smash that like button like it owes you money, stole your charger, and then lied about it on a lie detector. Likes tell the algorithm one thing: this conversation isn't done. And trust me, it's not. If you're new here, hit subscribe like you mean it. Because scandals don't wait for permission, and this channel doesn't do reruns. We do breakdowns, receipts, and chaos served hot. The moment something cracks, leaks, or explodes, you already know where to find it. Turn on notifications too. Not tomorrow. Not later now. Because the internet moves fast, and stories like this don't age quietly, they mutate. New angles, new players, new fallout. New players, new fallout. And when the next shoe drops, you don't want to hear about it secondhand. This isn't just commentary. This is pattern recognition in real time. We connect dots. People pretend not to see and say the parts others whisper behind closed DMS. So stay locked, stay messy, respectfully. Because if today proved anything, it's this: the truth doesn't knock. It kicks the door in. And when it does, you already know who breaks it down first. Welcome to Celeb Sync, where the drama doesn't fade. It reloads.